mute the mic and say good evening to everybody. Munson here on the Silver Coast in Portugal. And look at this, only half the team on the screen. What's going on, John?
Well, what indeed is going on? Anna is at a birthday party. Where is she at? What birthday? I don't know which birthday party she's at, whose birthday party, though, or where it is.
She's out and about, John, and is unable to join us today, but he's probably tuning in, knowing Anna.
Yes.
She's traveling around, so she's not able to make it tonight. But Anna, she makes her presence felt in the group, which is fantastic, all week long in the Happy Homesteaders group on Facebook, and we'll be back next week. Lee, we don't know where head gardener McGrady is, do we? So we will see. We'll see what happens tonight. It might just be 45 minutes of me and John telling and making up gardening jokes. And then what would be wrong with that? That'd be quite an entertaining 45, in my opinion. I don't know about anybody else's. What do you think, John?
Yes, that would be good. But I thought, as this is a gardening show and quite a lot of professional gardeners like Lee, I don't know if Lee's got a pickup truck for his work. We'll have to ask him. But I thought we could talk about, maybe I've actually found a list on Google on the Autocar website of the top 10 best pickup trucks 2021.
Man,
so
you like your vehicles, don't you? So we should.
Yes, but I like my vehicles, but I also thought we could do that as a sort of gardening related way of it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you like tractors as well, or is that a bit?
Yeah, tractors are cool. Yeah,
they are, aren't they? And old Peter Bleach, who's here sometime, might send us a picture of his tractor that he's just got. He looks a picture on it. He really does. He's even got himself a gilet vest, which makes him look like a total and utter country gentleman on that thing. So hopefully he'll be up here. He'll be here soon, and he'll be able to share that picture with us. I'll be delighted to share it, Pete, if you're tuned in already. But right, Felice. Oh, John, do you want to do this, or are you going to let me struggle with it?
Sorry, I'm.
No need to be sorry. That would be really
right. This is going to be interesting because I don't actually know Portuguese. So,
and I pretend to.
Noite, feliz,
Let's just go with a good evening. Let's just go with a good evening. It's not Dutch, John. But no, Felicius proprietarios e Sam e
No, I can't speak Portuguese, but it would be quite interesting to learn, actually, because of course, yes, there's actually, like, I think the Brazilian, they speak Portuguese in Brazil. I know that, which is a totally unrelated fact to gardening, but
well, let's see if we can weave it in somehow. But you're absolutely right. There's a Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese, and many of the people on the morning show are committing to doing 15 minutes a day. And at that rate, we will all be speaking Portuguese very well, and I won't hesitate in quite the way I did just then. Boa tarde a todos from Louise. Louise is here. Lovely blooms that you've sent pictures in of those tonight, Louise, and I'll certainly be featuring those. Eric's here. Thank you for your question, Eric. Boa tarde a todos. John, what did I just interrupt you saying there?
Yeah, I was just going to post this this article about pickup trucks in the group.
Oh, let's do that.
Because I thought there might be people in there. Well, there almost certainly will be people in there who are interested.
Yeah.
So
that's going in there then.
This is brand new one, so I don't know if anyone's interested in the used ones as well. But it should be a bit of a rough guide to what to buy used as well.
Well, Pete's got a Tesla pickup, and I'm guessing you're up to speed with those. He's charging it off the sun on solar panels. And I don't know if he's got it yet. It might not even be on the market, but I think that's his aspiration.
I didn't realize Tesla were doing pickups. So
yeah. So it's a smart looking thing.
Yeah.
Susan's here as well. Good evening to you, Susan. So good to have you here tonight and to be working with you. Fiona and Simon also here. Good evening, guys. Hello, you two. And oh no, the mic was open again. Carl riffing Lee into the titles. Okay, maybe it needs to be released. Let's start. Oh, here we go, John. Look at this first one. I'll let you do this. John, you're muted.
I nearly stopped my camera as well because I'm trying to unmute myself because they're right next to each other, the buttons. But anyway, let's start. What would be, so this is from Eric Huser. I think it's pronounced high.
Heiser,
Anyway,
yeah, or he.
what would be the gardener's favourite Harrison Ford film? Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is well played, Eric. That is well played.
Well played, sir. Opening the batting there. We're taking advantage of Anna being away, I think, aren't we, John, a little bit? And because normally we keep the gardening jokes to a minimum because there's loads of questions, photos, and videos. But John and I are taking advantage of the situation tonight.
But you can ask your questions. In fact, I shall post what I normally post about. Hang on, I can go away.
Head gardener's not here. We'll do our best to help.
Yes. Is Lee not here? Has he just messaged you that he's not going to be here then?
No, nothing. Not heard of a dicky bird. To you.
I mean, he messaged us with a thumbs up when you posted. Right. Oh no, that was from Friday at 5:51 p.m. apparently.
Anything could have happened between now and then, John. So we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see. Let's say hello. Continue to say hello to people. Rotavators. There you go. Oh, good topic. As it's almost time to churn the soil. Just waiting for some wet weather to soften the soil a bit. That's a great idea, and it should wait and let nature help you there. But that's a good idea as well. We could do a rotavator special as well. I bet they've changed over the years, and there's probably some sexy-looking vehicles. Well, not vehicle. They're not vehicles, are they? But bits of machinery on the market now. Thunder's here as well. Hola, amigos. Says Thunder, great to have you here. Are you going to be gardening on your balcony there, Thunder? You've not said much about your gardening activities. Elaine, I know, would love to do a bit of gardening and loves fresh food and produce, probably the main. Oh, and obviously medicinal herbs as well. So good evening to you, Elaine. Paul, Louise and Lottie, Eric's addressing your comment and saying, yes, I would be also interested to learn more about the best rotavators. They're a funny bit of kit, aren't they? The way you let it pull you around the garden. Funny old things. I'd love to have a go one day. But yeah, let's have a bit of a research into that, as well as pickups like the Cybertruck here, delayed until 2022, we're told. Yes, pickups and rotavators, that'll be great one day. Carl, your guest is a bit louder than you, so I've turned myself up a bit. Hopefully that's balanced a little bit now. Here we go. I can see you two digging yourselves a hole, telling jokes all night. But hey, the spirit of it. We're looking to buy a rotavator with plough, tillers, and a small flail attachment sometime soon. Peter Bleach is here. Tractor, send a pic, Pete. Can we feature you on your tractor, please, this evening? And no need to garden now. With a wink there. Just goes to the market, maybe. I was just about to say, head gardener McGrady's here. Oh, and he's gone again. Oh, he's back. He's back here. Look, Mr. McGrady, the head gardener, is here on the gardening Q&A. How are you, sir?
Good evening. Knackered.
Oh. Why is that?
Because I've been working, Carl. Some of that actual jobs we have to do.
Oh, yes. I remember that. All day. What, like moving things around and picking stuff up? That sort of thing?
Something like that.
Let's see if we can cheer him up. First joke of the night. Do you know what, Lee? I was out at the garden centre over the weekend, and I thought I saw Michael J. Fox in there. Do you know why? Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure because he had his back to the fuchsias. All right. I'm
leaving. I'm going.
That's a bad start, isn't it? Okay. Oh, Deagles sent a few pictures in on WhatsApp, so I'll feature those as well. And Lee, some suggestions have been coming in. Rotavators. Do you have one of those in your kit? Is that necessary in your line of work?
I have a tiller, which is like a baby rotavator. Purely because I can't justify buying one. I can't justify buying a full-size rotavator when I can rent them for €34 a day.
Okay.
And just because they get damaged all the time, they need a lot of maintenance. So I'd rather break somebody else's and return that than break my own and have to pay for it.
All right.
I have a mini rotavator for the private garden, and I've used it a few times on jobs, but it's more just for breaking the ground.
Okay.
It's not,
So it's like a single or double claw, is it, rather than a row of them or something like that?
Mine's got four. Mine's got 4 tines on it, 4 teeth on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So is that where that thing of a hire car is the fastest car in the world comes from then?
Yeah, the best rotor in the world's a hired one because you can just wreck it and return it. Yeah.
So when you say expensive then and the investment there, what is something like a Kubota 6000 worth? What's that going to cost?
Well, I'm not quite sure about brand names. Just one moment. One, please. Just ordering me coffee. Just got it.
Good service. I'll have one of them.
I'm not sure about brand names, but you can get a fairly reasonable machine for the home garden for around €1,000. You get up to the professional level. You go up to the professional levels, you can be talking, well, in excess of whatever you want, 4,000 or 5,000 grand for a half decent one.
Oh, really?
But you can buy cheap and nasty ones, €300-400.
Disposable.
They won't last 2 seasons. It's not worth wasting the money on.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So rent it when you need it. That's already a good gardening tip this evening from the head gardener there. So that makes a lot of sense.
I'll guarantee it will spend more time in the shed than it'll ever see sunlight. Because you use it 3-4 times a year maximum.
Fair comment.
Yeah.
Fair comment. Okay, Deagle, thank you for the pics. I'm just downloading those now. We'll go to people's pictures in just a moment. He sent a picture of his thermometer. That looks like it will freeze solid fairly soon over there in Belfast. Not gloating or anything because it's blooming cold here this morning, by relatively speaking, by local standards. Stephen's here. Paul, Louise, Lottie, check out the Eco and Beyond YouTube channel. They got something like that a while back. Okay, that's good to know, isn't it? Dear old Eco and Beyond. Peter from Louise, I agree, but our neighbours say our land has too many short terraces for a tractor. Always wanted a Lamborghini. For many people, it's the only Lamborghini they'll ever be able to afford, right? The Lamborghini tractor, of course, which our mate has in central Portugal. Jason, evening, Lee. I'm a nervous gardener and sometimes I wet my plants. What have we done? What have we done? Afternoon, Mr. McGrady. I just wanted to ask you, do you grow your own back here? Now, would that be possible in Portugal? It'd be a better shag than you buy in the shop, wouldn't it?
It is possible in Portugal, but I don't grow my own. It's cheap enough to buy, so.
Okay. In Portugal it is, isn't it? Yeah, for sure. But if you grow your own, you don't have those horrific pictures to look at.
I smoke a lot. I need massive acreage to grow enough tobacco to keep me going for the year. Never mind anybody else.
All right, fair enough. I love good and bad puns, says Thunder. He's enjoying it tonight. We are just starting the process of moving from the US, says Susan. And is there such a garden sharing group that shares equipment in different areas of Portugal? Okay. So as well as hiring, maybe people share equipment. I'm not sure if it works quite like that. You're more likely, Susan, I would say, to know a well-meaning neighbour who'll come and do it for you. Would you agree, Lee?
Yeah, I think it's better to keep it close to your neighbourhood because machinery is not cheap, and for anything decent, you don't want to be lending it to strangers because they won't respect it as you respect your own.
Yeah, it's the way.
But the rental cost of gear is fairly cheap compared to England. You know, I'm quite happy rented when it comes to the necessities.
Yeah, and neighbours, if you're in central or in more rural parts of Portugal, get to know your neighbours and they'll come and do things for you. I mean, you just hear of the most amazing help that people get by extending, by working in a community way rather than in an individual way. Pete, good advice to Louise. Small terraces can mean death. I had a friend who has rolled his twice. Yeah. Tractors cause more deaths in Portugal than cars. Now, that's a really serious and lethal point you make there because the protection's not there, is it, when you're on a tractor? It's often quite no cage or no roll bar on there. You're going to say something about that, Lee?
I rolled a John Deere ride-on lawnmower a few years ago. That was pretty scary. Yeah, we did 3 flips together before I managed to leave. But I know of another guy that did the same. They're only good in the manual. It only recommends 15 degrees of embankment. And 15 degrees is nothingness.
No, right.
Yeah. the maximum.
Go on, mate.
The maximum embankment that most machines recommend is like 15 to 22, and that's not a big embankment. So they're really easy to tip and flip, especially when the ground's wet, and you get a bit of a slip. You try to turn into it, and the whole thing just goes, whoop.
Did anyone video it? Did anyone video it? By any chance, Lee?
No, unfortunately not.
All right.
I'm sure you'll find something. It happens regularly.
Tell me more as well. I mean, did it have a roll bar? It must have done, right? For it to have spun 3 times and you to have survived that.
No, I was. It had a. I don't know if you can picture them, but when you sit in them, you kind of sit inside beneath the engine anyway. Right. So the steering wheel's quite high up on them, and you can elevate them and adjust the steering wheel. Good. So as it went, I was sort of leaning into the embankment, so we went over together, and then I went back into the embankment. So we just rolled 3 times, and I slipped off it.
That was quite so casual about it.
Well, that was quite a casual. I once got one over by a steamroller, but that was kind of serious.
Did you get? I mean, if you get run over by a steamroller, you've got to get up like a paper-thin sort of character from a cartoon, haven't you? But clearly, that isn't what happened. I
was 21, and I got stuck behind it on a tailgate of a trailer, and it came onto the tailgate and crushed underneath.
No.
Oh, it did. Yeah, I had almost a full year off work with it. Yeah, it really did me in. It was my only real serious injury. Yeah. The
things we find out on this show, quite amazing. Head gardener McGrady there, looking back on his early days in the business. There is Peter Bleach's tractor. Wow, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's a beauty.
I bet people have been waiting all day to share that picture. Yeah, but I know he's only just picked it up. It's all over his Facebook page.
Lovely.
John's loving it. And there's Pete sat on the beast there. What's the name of your tractor? Have you given her a name yet? And there he goes down to the shops. It's only going to take 3 hours to get down there for a pint of milk, and he's forgotten to buy a newspaper while he's down there. Amazing, Pete. Thank you so much for those. Has she got a name? Okay, hold on. What do you call a garden nursery? Garden nursery. Planned Parenthood. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, Susan, I hope that was satisfactory. A satisfactory answer to you. Best to get to know the neighbours and the local people in the community, and people will come round and help you. Serious point, well made, Pete. Go on, Lee.
I was just thinking back to the previous question before that about the tobacco. I think Fiona grew some this year. All right. If I'm not mistaken. I think she shares some pictures of her tobacco leaves drying out. Right. I know she's a regular listener, or if not now, later in the day. Maybe we get Fiona said something of hers. Yeah.
John, you weren't muted then.
Sorry.
May I apologise? What bit of garden produce have you been eating to cause such an effect? We could tie it into gardening.
I'm not really sure why that happened, to be honest.
Really? Okay. The biology special next week. Okay. Louise says, I'll have a look. Yeah, Stephen, yes, we've been in contact with Kylie at Eco and Beyond, but the cost of the Model A is more than we want to pay. So there you go. So maybe a similar approach, a community-based approach for you, Louise, as well. Carl, I've sent you pics. Yes, thanks, Pete. We've got those and shared those. Fantastic. What is her name? Depends how big your land is, Lee. With 18 hectares, we use it more than 3 times a year. So there you go.
That goes from gardening to kind of farming. You kind of get into the farming side of it, aren't you?
You are really.
Then you've got to look at spending more money on equipment because it's actually necessary.
Yeah.
So there's a balance between horticulture and agriculture, and the people that are doing up to 20 acres, they're definitely going to need something full time and something deep as well. Yeah,
and all the attachments. I mean, with a tractor, you're going to be into the attachment area, aren't you? The apps, they're kind of tractor apps, aren't they? So you might be able to get the vibrator to shake the olives out of the trees on the back of a tractor or something like that. I'm sure they're building all sorts of things to go on the back of tractors. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. And you're going to be a handy bloke in the neighborhood, pulling people out of ditches as well, possibly Pete as well. All that manly stuff, fantastic. Okay, Marcus Varbon is here. Hola, Carl Docinho. Friday, it's going to rain a lot. Portuguese weather forecast, excuse me. Yes, I think rain is heading this way, sadly. We're hoping to spend a day on the beach for my boy's birthday on Sunday, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to be inside carving pumpkins by the look of it. Deagle, when we get a dry spell, plants quickly die. I now put all my plants in a clay peat mix. It forces the plants to source out water. Too many just happy for rainwater. I water all plants from the bottom. So that sounds like pretty good advice, right? In a plate from mid-October to mid-March, I turn plates upside down to stop the plants sitting in water. That's a very thorough approach, Lee. One you would approve of by the sound of it.
Most definitely. Anything to save not only water, but to save time.
Okay.
Yeah, great idea. Yeah, I like the idea of plates upside down as well, because I end up stacking all mine behind the shed and having to get them all out and clean them again and mess around and find out which one goes to which pot. Yeah. Turn them upside down is a good idea. I'm going to use that.
Yep. So there's a great little hack there that we've learned tonight. Rather than taking them all into the shed or somewhere else in the garden, just spin them over. Fantastic. And then we're going. While we're talking to you, Deagle, let's have a look at some of your blooms from Belfast. Your Belfast blooms. So this is good. Making use of the vertical spaces there. Some nice garden shelves with what look like swing seats. That's really creative there. And that's all going to grow up, isn't it, on that particular picture? And your lovely blooms there might get surrounded by that. I think that is a morning glory there, isn't it? The of many a gardener. Some geraniums there as well in a pot in the corner. This is looking a lot like our yard, which I'll move on to in a little while. But sharing a few more of yours, Deagle, here before we leave Belfast this afternoon. The welcome corner as well. So lots of container gardening going on there in Belfast. Nice use of the patio and the final one.
Very welcoming garden.
It is, isn't it? Just and again oh look, a little corner with some gnomes and some little like gnomey tiny houses. Now, Lee, I think I saw him shake his head slightly there. What is your policy on gnomes in gardeners as a lifelong and professional gardener, Lee?
They make great targets for a rifle.
Oh dear. Okay. We've got to we'll change the subject by showing a lovely picture of Deagle's sunflowers, which have brought some beautiful colour by the look of it to the garden there. Who else wants to own up to having garden gnomes or other what would you call them? Attractions or idiosyncrasies? Ornaments. Garden ornaments. There we go. Just finally, then in Belfast for tonight, from a screenshot from the phone, I think, and some lovely sunflowers. Must have been from earlier on in the year. A bit tiny on the screen, but you can see how tall they are. Just peeping over the neighbour's hedge. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. Have you noticed any questions in the comments? Oh, nomicide. That's what his Thunder suggested is. So have we got any questions tonight, John?
We haven't actually, not yet. But what going back to the whole vehicle thing, I found I thought because I didn't realise that Anna wasn't going to be in doing the show today, so I've just found something to talk about, and we've talked about tractors, which is something some gardeners use. So another thing some gardeners use is, of course, pickups. So I don't know if you use a pickup at all, Lee, or
my previous vehicle in the UK was a pickup truck. Was a Mitsubishi for work.
Oh, right.
A cracking tool. Now I'm on a covered van.
Okay.
Which is okay. Yeah. It's better for security.
Yeah,
when
sure.
I had to unload everything all the time and keep it safe with me all the time. Now with the covered vehicle, I can just lock it and walk away. So that was the reason at the time. But now I can't get as much waste in there as I used to get on the back of the pickup.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But
it's one of those with vehicles. It's a bit of a give and take. You've got to go where you can afford and what you actually need.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it sounds like you're a white van man then, basically, Lee. When you,
I am. I've got a Renault, but it's the longer one.
Yeah,
and the Maxi, and it's the smallest vehicle I can cross the bridge with, paying the minimum charge, which is why I went for it. So it's a large vehicle. the largest vehicle. I can over the bridge, paying the minimum charge.
Very
which
good.
Is why it was selected. Because
Lisbon life hack for you there. Amazing. Very good. And Deagle's continuing sending the photos. Go on, Lee. Sorry.
Crossing the bridge every day, it goes from what, 190 up to €3.5 to go one vehicle. So yeah, it just makes financial sense.
Perfect. Thunder sharing your terror here. Been terrified several times off camber on a 0-turn mower. Never again. So a near miss by the sound of it. Paint color there, Testarossa red for Pete. Marcus, Louise is saying to you, we're waiting for the rain so that we can have permission for fires, of course. So that's that's what people are waiting for in central Portugal. Land waste fires are still prohibited in our municipality due to the fire risk. And yes, that's a message to everybody. Do check if you're planning on having a fire, especially in the rural parts of Portugal. Make sure it's okay. And in many places, you've got to say you're doing it. Go on, Lee.
I do a large garden on the other side of Sintra, and the garden is connected to a vineyard. And the fire pile now is like an English bonfire. It's huge, and it's just waiting for the first day of bonfire permission season to get burnt down. But all the ash will be reused back into the compost, which is a good tip.
All right, nothing wasted there. Okay, very good. Our lovely builders hired a steamroller and did our drive today for free. Glad we did have a flattened Lee on it. Well, probably didn't. Glad we're so lucky. That's amazing, isn't it? I saw the pictures of that as well, Pete. Quite extraordinary. Thank you for the info. Good info, and thank you. But it's a pleasure, Susan. That's what we're here for. Eric, a tractor can also be used with a trailer and such things are perhaps worth the money instead of a walk-behind rotavator. For €4,000, you have a good Kubota 6000 with low hours. Does that mean low hours maintenance, possibly? I'm not sure.
With tractors and ride-on lawnmowers, they don't really go for the speedometer, for the clock on the speedometer.
Yeah,
you don't have
it's like
miles. You have a clock that registers the hours that the engine's worked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So it's like, say, 50,000 hours is like having buying a car that's done 50,000 miles.
Very good.
Well, not really ish.
Good to know. Good to know. And the gnome aside, it's a Marmite thing in the garden, isn't it? Clearly, we visited the Palacio de Pena gardens last week. Great ideas picked up for water management using old over and under roof tiles as irrigation. Oh, that's smart, isn't it? As irrigation channels and high-rise pot planting. Very good. Did you get any pictures, Louise? That sounds great. John Rooney's here. Up, John. Are we allowed a Portuguese windmill, or is that akin to a gnome-style ornament? I think the windmill thing is a bit of a Silver Coast thing. What do the Lisbon people, the Lisboetas, the lettuce eaters, like to have in their gardens if they have any ornaments? It's not a windmill there, is it?
It's part of the reason I dislike gnomes, is when I go to gardens where they've got lots of ornaments, it just takes longer. You've got to clean behind them. You've got to move them out the way. Oh, they just become a nightmare. But I've seen everything from wishing wells to a lot of pot lizards and animals. That's a bit of a thing here.
Okay. Maybe cow dash
pot animals. You must have seen them driving down the road, Carl. These big pot cows you can see at the side of the road for sale.
Yes.
Oh, that's bizarre. Cows, sheep. Oh, it's just the strangest thing. Yeah.
Okay, so all kinds of things, and I think windmills are a Silver Coast thing, John. And of course, you're allowed. It's your house. Do what you like. Celebrate your eccentricity. Make something of it. Interested to know what you're planting in your garden for winter veg. Is asking Louise at you, Lee. Just so broad beans, peas, more cabbage, onions, leeks, turnips, winter lettuce, and spinach. So, what are you planting at the moment, Lee?
About the same. Yeah. Plus potatoes. It's good potatoes off there. Still get them in here in Portugal. I did know when I was weeding the other day, I've got some lettuce coming through. Some lettuce that must have gone to seed at some point.
Oh, very good.
And I've got some baby lettuce coming, so I'm hoping to eat them before the weather changes.
So you've got some lettuce coming through the post then.
Oh my God. Maybe that was a really bad idea to encourage John. Horticultural.
I turned my tomato bed over as well again. We had tomatoes in this year, And I must have killed about 2 baby tomatoes with all self-seed as well. So things are still growing here. They're still germinating. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, excellent. Good to know. Mrs. Emma's been sowing, and if I may, we took your advice, Lee, and we went for the dustbins. We were asking about composting, and there's an arty shot of a dustbin. I used a hole cutter, drilled some holes at different heights, then we bought some mesh and hot glued it in, and there you get a side view of it. Looks quite nice, that, doesn't it? Looks quite professional. And there they are on a long shot. Yeah, not too bad. And elsewhere in the garden, cabbage and lettuce growing in plastic tubs. And this is, oh, sorry, you didn't see that, did you?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Lovely looking plants that were bought from the market, from the agricultural cooperative. And look what she's been sowing loads here, Lee. I think we've got some comfrey in there as well. And it turns out our front garden is a lot sunnier, especially at this time of year. So it looks like the lawn might give way to a few veg growing areas as well. We've got a video, talking of ornaments, we have a video in from Belfast. The solar fountain is still running, and we're going to prove that to you on air now. Interested to know what sort of ornaments people have, if any, in their gardens. You know, Lee eschews the ornament by the sound of it because it's too much work.
But I have a cat. We do want to know. Oh, sorry, Lee.
I've got a want to.
Come on, one at a time, gentlemen. What have you got, Lee?
I was just going to say we do want to find out maybe what gnomes and other things you have as well, particularly if you have a pond. Actually, see what pond-related garden ornaments you have if you have a garden pond as well. So yeah, that will be quite interesting to find out. So comments
as well. Yeah, absolutely. Lee, what is it you've got in your garden? Old quite a bit. A cannon? Okay. What, an original?
It's the only ornament we've got. Yeah, just a cannon at the top of the steps aimed at the gate.
Okay, to give visitors a sense of the hospitality available at the house. Okay, over to Belfast. Let's check this out. Look at this. (1:30) is that, the Eagle? Today, maybe. Lots of ornaments at the back of the ornaments there. Unless he's using it as a sundial.
That's pretty nice, yeah. Have you froze up, Carl? Have I froze?
No, I just muted myself and then didn't unmute, unfortunately. I'm just saying it's nice to have a running water in the garden, unless it's people just coming back late from the pub. Okay, pottery frogs seem to be a big thing in gardens around here. Okay, that's in Portugal, central Portugal, according to Louise. And mushroom season. And foraging at the moment. Button, porcini, oysters also leave in the sun to increase vitamin D. Very good for you. Okay, so that's why the foragers leave the mushrooms out in the sun for a day, is it, Lee?
It also, with some of the... I used to know a Polish lady that did a lot of foraging. And she would leave them out because with some species, there's a change of colour, which indicates whether they're poisonous or not. So if you're unsure, you're leaving them out. But that's not a hint or a tip. I don't recommend anybody goes foraging unless they know exactly what they're doing.
Well said,
because it'll kill.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, those seedlings look strangely familiar. I do not know what you're talking about, Thunder. Very smartly, I remember quite a few fires from large compost heaps when I worked in the Isabella plantations. What a beautiful part of the world that is, Pete, in Richmond Park. Any advice for reducing the fire risk on a large compost heap? Because, of course, they get very hot, don't they? What to do about that, Lee?
Well, I do occasionally when I'm... Because I turn mine over a lot, which helps reduce the fire risk.
Yeah.
And I do occasionally give it a water with the hose pipe, just to cool it off a bit.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, it's not so much of a problem. I've never had one set on fire on me, but I'm always aware that other people have. So.
Yeah, and you can get a bit of a smolder, can't you, going on? And
I had back in the UK. I had a massive pile of wood chip in the corner of the garden that we used to, when we did the tree job, we'd rent a chipper and fire it all in the same place. Yeah. And we used to get a fox come regular and sleep on the top of the wood chipper in winter. He used to dig himself a little pit and sleep on because of the heat that was rising out of the rotting wood.
Sure, but which creature was that?
Fox. Yeah.
A fox. Oh, how lovely. How lovely. Animals are so smart, aren't they? And they could just sense those temperatures in a way that we've lost touch with in our air-conditioned luxury. Thanks for that comment, Pete. Margarita with a question for you, Lee. Do you think parsnips would grow well in Portugal?
They do. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So parsnips grow well. Do you like them, Lee?
Yeah. I haven't got my way to eat one, but if they come out the garden and they go in with a stew, I like stews. I like a lot of stews, a lot of pot roasts. So they're perfect for that.
They are, aren't they? And really nice roasted as well. So yeah, that's good news for you, Margarita. I saw lots of parsnip and swede plugs in the local market here, Margarita. Hope you're well. Very good. Thank you for that. Let us pray that Carl stops telling bad jokes from Ed Matthews. Good evening, Ed. Nice lettuce joke there. See what you did there. I crush eggshells. Oh, you rascal, Deagle. In a manly display. I hope you do it in public so that everyone can see in the neighborhood. And a little rock salt, sprinkle around the plants, keep slugs away. And when it rains, the salt washes out, keeps the slugs away. No pellets. Very pet friendly. So the old eggshell trick for the slugs there. Warm weather is going to continue in Portugal, says Marcus. So rainy, but warm. Virginia Larson is here. Thanks for that, Marcus. Which agency would I contact to see which seeds I could bring from California? This is a great question, Lee. Specifically, basil, mint, and other herbs. I was told that herbs were not easily found in the supermarkets. Was I misinformed? I think you were. But, I mean, do you have to figure it out? Yeah, goodness.
You were definitely misinformed. I wouldn't recommend traveling with any plants purely because it's going to be a waste of money. Okay. I know loads of people from the UK at the moment are having trouble at customs bringing absolutely anything green into the country. Without a plant passport, you've got no chance. And it's so freely available once you get to Portugal. You can mail order from Holland, France. So there's no real issue with finding, any plants or seeds here. So it's just not worth the trouble.
Not worth the trouble, Virginia. That's good to know, isn't it? And talking of basil, one of our community will be sleeping with basil tonight. It's not what you think. This is a picture that came in from Jay. We were talking about this on the show this morning about how the fragrant herbs might be good for keeping mosquitoes away. She got bitten on the face 4 times this morning on a mosquito on the late shift. Look at that bush. That's a lovely plant to have in the bedroom. That's a beauty, a manjerico in Portuguese, of course. Very, very impressive bush, Jackie. That's fantastic. And in the last moments, we will look at your blooms, Louise, before we leave today. They are beautiful, and your photography is most excellent too. I sent you some Nomi pics. I know you did, Thunder, and I need to know before I show them if they're yours or not. Elaine, I heard that snakes like compost heaps. What do we do if we disturb one? Apart from run. I mean, that's all you can do in it. Just leave it alone, Lee, right? There's no point.
Just leave it be. There's no point. Take a video, show the kids, share with your friends. Just leave it alone.
Yeah,
we've got a wood burner heater here in the back of the kitchen, outdoor kitchen, and I know the geckos are in there at breeding season, so I presume there's some baby geckos in there now. So that has to be cleaned out before we light it in the next few weeks. But just be aware and be careful and leave it well alone.
And I think
only bite you if you poke them.
They only bite you if you poke them, like so many things in life. And I think the latest iPhone has got a Portuguese snake setting on it, which makes the snake look about 10 feet long if you photograph it at the right angle. So you can send that to the folks back home. Margarita, Portuguese believe frogs keep the gypsies away. Oh, my goodness. Apparently, gypsies find frogs very unlucky. It's amazing what you find out about people's cultures, isn't it? In both senses there, I think. Susan King, can you grow Chioggia beets? Chioggia beets, I'm sure wasn't that an album? Like an Ibiza chill out album called Chioggia beets. But do you recognize that name, Lee?
I don't recognize the name, but I know beets grow really well here. So
beets do grow very well.
Yeah, I presume it's all the same. Same going for different types of beets. So yeah, I don't think you'll have any problem. I've not really come across anything you can't grow here at the right time of year.
Okay.
We're one of them lucky countries. If you've got enough water, you plant it in the right position with the shade or for sun, you'll get away with pretty much anything.
Well, that's a really nice thing to know as well, Lee. Thank you for that. Marcus, the ITMA website indicates 100% probability of rain in our district on Friday. Looks like we're carving pumpkins this weekend, Mrs. M. I've shown your lovely seedlings this afternoon. Thanks for the coffee. I've seen small basil and mint plants at Pingados. I have shown pictures of your compost bin as well. And they're very impressed. There you go. You can also use eggshells by roasting them and adding them to little Epsom salts as CalMag supplement for any weeds you may be growing. Very good, Pete. Unless you travel by car, I think there are still no checks within the Schengen borders. That's for move. I didn't know that about seeds, Lee. We cannot encourage people breaking the law, whether it's gardening or not.
It's not just breaking the law. It's unnecessary. There's nothing you can't pretty much buy online from within the Schengen area. So once you're in Portugal, you can look at Holland, Germany, and France. They're all great growers and great seed producers. So there's not much you can bring from America that you couldn't find here.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah, what's the point? And why get into trouble? We'll have to come back here and collect some plugs. What a shame. Yeah, I think Louise must have just missed out on that. Oh, no, not Louise. It's Margarita, isn't it? In Lisbon, there are no parsnips. And in Portuguese, pastinassa in Portuguese there. So that's good to know. Lol, no, they are beets that have a red streak through them. They are delicious, not as earthy. And hello, Carl. How are you keeping? I don't know who that is, Facebook user, but I'm very well, thank you. Having great fun on the gardening Q&A, which we do at 6:15 every Monday evening. Anna, not with us tonight, but we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We're off air next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the full team. That plant has a good smell. The old man Jericho, the basil, the picture that I showed. And let's go finally then to a few pics of Louise's. These are absolutely beautiful. A few blooms from Paul, Louise, and Lottie's garden. Is that Cosmos? But these are absolutely beautiful. I'll tell you what they all are after we've shown the pics. That's a classic here in Portugal. The old rhubarb and custard plant, I call that. I love that. Somebody told me what that was called the other day. These are the ones you see in Portuguese gardens traditionally. Many of these, I think. That's beautiful as well. Oh, beautiful. Lovely, lovely pictures and fantastic photography. Look at that there. While that one's on there, let me just tell you, because Louise did tell me what they were. Cosmos, Roses, Lantana, and Gazinias there. So thank you so much, Louise, and thank you to everybody who's sent pictures in. Oh, a few late ones. I think I'm going to have to carry these forward because John has to finish at 7. We have to finish at 7. But we're going to finish tonight because, John, it was World Naked Gardening Day just recently, wasn't it not?
No, it was back in May actually, but that was my fun gardening fact for Friday. I thought that was rather interesting.
Okay, well, this is what happens when gnomes go wrong in the garden. Everybody, those fellas look like they've been drinking Portuguese wine at about €2 a bottle. And that's exactly the sort of thing that Lee doesn't like to strim around, right? Because that's a massive pain in the bottom when you're a professional gardener. Yeah. And here's the gnome evidence that it was indeed Naked Gardening Day sometime this year, or if it's your own garden, any time of the year, obviously. Thank you very much for those, Randy. Really appreciate that. And we will be back. As I said, it won't come off. Isn't it terrible? It won't come off the screen now. Oh, there you go. There's the right clip. That's not one you want to be stuck with on the screen, is it? Thank you very much, everybody, for all your comments, your input. Have we got time for just one more joke, John?
I just can't think of any now.
All right, I'll just find you one. I was just reminiscing over the weekend about the beautiful herb garden I had when I was growing up. Good times. I think we should leave it there, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Ciao, everybody. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Pictures coming. Anybody in the show tonight, we will carry over to next week. Bye.